guys, welcome back to another one. Recently I did a video breaking down Federal's 2 3/4 inch 20 gauge 20 pellet load of number 3 buck. You guys wanted to see a video using the hull I cut down because if you've seen the video, I just cut the hull up. I had planned on turning it into a mini shell and you guys wanted to see that, so that's what we're doing here. What I have is the same Federal hull that you guys seen in the video cut down to exactly 2 inches. It still has the Federal primer and it is scibed. I've done that off camera just to save time. I just use a knife, like a steak knife. Not a steak knife, I don't know. It's a non-serrated blade. I just twist it until we have a thin edge, so we can fold crimp it. If I had not done that, this would be a lot harder to fold crimp and it probably would not turn out that pretty. Unscibed hulls have a thick edge, the same thickness as the rest of the hull that is not cut on top, for lack of a better word. But this is 2 inches. Now, what we're using here is 9 pellets of 29 cal number 1 buck. Actual number 1 buck is 30 cal. 29 cal is also sometimes called number 1 buck, but it's not technically. I call it number 1 buck. But the components we're going to use are a Federal hull that has been shortened to 2 inches and scibed once again. You could use a Shadite, Fiocchi, any straight wall 2 inch 20 gauge hull will work. We're using the low profile gas seal. These are 1/8 of an inch. They are, however, discontinued. If you don't have any, I suggest just using the Obturator 20 gas seal, the OB20. It's 1/4 inch, so what you got to do is use a 1/8 inch filler wad. I use felt. You could use fiber cushion, cork, whatever you have, but you need 1/8 inch. This is 1/4 inch. Together, this makes 3/8 of an inch, which is the wad height you need. But again, these are discontinued, the low profile gas seals, sadly. We're using Green Dot here. 14. That's this beautiful powder out here, the first one I ever got to start doing this whole thing. And 16 gauge. I love that powder. The manual I have lists a 14 charge of Green Dot in 20 gauge with a 3/4 ounce load, and that's going to get it to 1200 FPS. The lead payload weight that this is going to be is 0.74 ounces, which is just a hair under 3/4, but the PSI was low enough we can use a little bit of buffer. So that's what we're doing. The last component we'll be using is buffer. Whatever you want, I am using BPI BSB buffer, which is my favorite. Voice cracks aside, let's get this started. Look at that. Magnetic wad tamper. We'll be needing that too, Gary Caskey's wad tamper. That is the 1/2 inch one that I use the absolute most. But low profile gas seal, if you don't have that, use the OB20 and use a 1/8 inch filler wad. These fit really tight, so a little bit of extra compression there. 1/4 inch felt wad. Again, if you're using the OB20, use a 1/8 inch, but that's in place. Now we just need 9 pellets of 29 cal, and that will be, again, a 0.74 ounce load, or right at 3/4 ounces. I'm using BPI 29 cal Super buckshot. It's actually pretty good stuff. It is nice and round, and it has some decent hardness to it. They're in my pocket. But I have 9 of them here. These are going to stack by 3s. You can think of this sort of like a mini version of 12 gauge regular 9 pellet double aught, what a lot of people use for a home defense load. This is very similar to it, only scaled down by quite a bit. That being said, 29 cal is still a relatively large pellet. It's obviously right under 30 cal. And that is plenty to get the job done the same job done that double aught will do in most cases. But we are at the right stack height for a fold crimp. I will be putting a paper thin overshot card on this because it is a mini shell. They are kind of difficult to fold crimp, but that's what we're doing, and I'll show you how I do that. You notice I'm using a Lee Lodahl. They are not capable of doing a 2 inch shell with a fold crimp, but I figured out a way to make it work. So we need our buffer. This is going to bring it up to a 0.77 ounce load, which is just a hair more than 3/4. And the PSI is low enough to allow for buffer. I don't know why I'm tamping that in. A viewer of the show donated a massager from Amazon. Watch this. See the buffer? Well, that's not a very good example, but the pellets are just starting to peek through. This thing works really good, especially with buckshot. That just wasn't a really good example. I'm using a very thin overshot card. This is actually a 24 gauge nitro card, but I did shave off one little section of it, and I can tell you exactly how thick that is because I have a set of thousandths calibers. It is 0.175, so 175 thousandths. It's pretty small. Moving along, let's get that in place. And to fold crimp this, I have my 16 gauge lead load all set up. If you guys didn't know, the pre-crimp on the 16 and 20 gauge lead load alls are the exact same thing. So I have my 20 gauge resize ring here. I actually have it upside down. I did not have it upside down, I'm just blind. So that's gonna get us up to the proper height we need for a pre-crimp. I'm just all over the place, but there we go. We have our pre-crimp established. Now we can use the GOP Rabacitor to do the middle crimp. And then once we hit it with a GOP BN2 or any crimp finisher you have, it's going to look like a factory shell. If factory loaded 2-inch mini shells. I think you can see it back there, but I have it attached right here. Let's give it the old middle crimp. You can see how it's coming along. Creates a crease around the top of the hull right here. Give it a little bit more, why not? And once it sticks in there, that's about when I call it good. As you can see, I've got a few of these loaded up back here, and they come out beautiful. That is a 2-inch mini shell, guys. But I'll finish this up off camera and get back with you. Here's what it looks like right now. Check this out. And here's the end result. You can see we do have a little bit of a lopsided pedal there. That's okay. I could have used a little bit more of an overshot card on it, but still, it is sealed up. Buffer can't come out. That overshot card that's in there will prevent that, but the crimp is pretty deep set. It cannot pop back open. I call that a success. As you can see, the ones I have back here actually look pretty good. That one just came out a little funny because I didn't have enough of an overshot card in it. Could have used probably, oh, I don't know, a 180 thousandth one. But these back here are loaded with everything from 32 cal, which is kind of like quad buck and 12 gauge. It's a tight fit, but yeah, 32 cal, 31 cal, 30, now 29 cal, 27, and 24, I believe that's it. So 32 cal down to number 4 buck, minus the 25 cal number 3 buck that I took out of them. That's ironic. And one of them was a load of 8-shot just to run over a chrono to see our velocity, but the manual I have does say it should be right around 1200 FPS. We'll see. You guys look forward to a range video on these. It might be posted the same day as this one, not really sure. But that's going to end this one here. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. We always appreciate that. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down in the comment section below and we'll get back to you. And if you want to, go check out our Patreon. It's as low as $1 a month and you guys get early access to content. A link to that, as well as a link to our Rumble, Instagram, and merch store will be in the description below. But other than that, you guys take it easy. We'll see you in the next one.